Hey, ladies and gents, it's Sistu is here with Mike Kunit, also known as Mike, Customizer Extraordinaire, originally of Masters of the Universe and now of Mythic Legions as well. He's going to show us some of the customs that he's brought to PowerCon, and hopefully you'll enjoy these as much as I can. So, I'm looking at the Dwarf up here in the front.
Right,
with the wings.
I went a little dwarf crazy and got on a roll. Each of these started out by picking a beard color and then working the whole rest of the dwarf armor and colors around that color of the beard. Here we have a gray beard, an aging, not fully gray yet beard, a nice strawberry blonde beard, and an aging blonde beard. All kind of color variations that we haven't yet seen officially released, but perhaps everything comes around, so maybe one day we'll get dwarves with these beards.
Well, I know that the Four Horsemen are always very inspired by your customs, and I've seen stuff that you do get made into like masters and officially become part of the line. And I have to say, these are really, really amazing. If the winged helmet is really striking. I think that one may be my favorite. I also love the golds and the blues.
Right, with each of these I tried to bend but not fully break the rules. So this is Scapular's helmet on top of a dwarf head there. And then I added on the wings on top.
Where did the wings come from?
They came from a shield from a medieval knight's line by Chap May.
Okay.
Bootleg company.
And are those runes on the sword, did you carve those in there?
Yes, that's Stormbreaker.
Is that what it says?
Land, yes.
Stormbreaker, so that's authentic, Celtic or Dwarvish? Or...
It's good enough, yeah, I'll take that.
He's magnificent. I love the wings and the way they sort of jet out from the helmet. It makes them look really regal and...
Right, I wanted to create a silhouette that we hadn't yet seen with the parts and the vocabulary that's already there in Mythic Legions. And same thing with this guy here with his horns, with the more purplish maroon armor and the pale gold pale brass.
And I want to say that's genius use of parts, because I noticed that you have the Gothotropolis bird's horn incorporated into the helmet, right?
Correct. The horn from his waist and then the end piece of the horn didn't get lost. It's now used to cover the holes.
So it's like reuse, reduce, recycle, right?
Right.
That is totally genius.
And same thing, that's the base helmet from the Army Builder 2.0 skeleton, which I managed to fit around the dwarf head. And he's got the mace from the online guys, my custom action figures. I think we've seen a lot of those stuff floating around.
Right. I'm surprised at how dapper the dwarves are.
Yeah.
They're really stylish for
in my own thinking, dwarves they take very much pride in their work and their craft, and so each dwarf has a very particular set of armor that's it's not ragged and rusty. It's kept up nice and reflects the character of each individual.
Right. And then you have the blonde beard and this guy. Where did the wings come from on that helmet?
That came from an owl that came with a Spawn set, maybe third year into the Spawn series toys. And they're removable.
Right.
They base off of the peg, so these could be interchangeable. So these could go and pop into any other helmet that had.
Yeah, plug and play, just like all the other Mythic Legions.
Right.
So.
And I modified the front of his helmet with pieces from the full metal beard helmet that comes with the dwarves.
And this was inspired by Dungeons and Dragons,
Right. There's a back of the card art which had a little small illustration of a dwarf with a blonde beard and red armor on his legs and feet, and I thought that was a really striking color combination.
It is.
So I wanted to see how I could manipulate those colors to feel like Mythic Legions.
Right.
Very punchy, but at the same time muted.
Right. And then this guy over here with the, what color blue is that? Royal blue, like Carolina blue?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I wanted a different silhouette for the dwarves. And instead of doing horns or big feathery, ears, I wanted something more centered with the plume.
And you take the helmets from the skeletons and you
Again,
pop
another
them on the
scapular
dwarves.
helmet.
And then the plume, and it's a really just inventive, neat reuse of the parts.
And then the shields, there's nothing added to the shields. It's just different paint variations. So with these two guys here in the middle, and those could be something like tampos that could be produced onto the shield at the factory. It's not changing the sculpt, it's just changing the look of it.
Right.
And again, there's a lot of play that you can have within the vocabulary of Mythic Legions.
Right. And then you have here a skeleton. Last year was a whole bunch of skeletons, or was that the year before? Yeah.
So on this guy here, I wanted to add some furry parts that we hadn't seen in Mythic Legions. So there's the furry leg armor and thighs, and skeleton feet for a 1.0 body.
Right.
So this guy is sort of a nod to the Conan-esque helmet, and
very cool.
Pushing that sort of how furry can we make a skeleton or make armor that all works together.
And there you have your chest and your gold coins.
Yes.
Which I put a video up, and a lot of people were asking about that because it looks so awesome.
It's real simple to make. It's time taking, but it's just a hole punch and a sheet of styrene.
And so, yeah, hole punch and sheet of styrene, and then patience, I guess, and repainting it. Those look awesome. So show me the ones that are there behind, like the skeletal archer and the I don't know what you call
So here we just have a simple put in front here. Simple repaint of a knight. And then I added the plume because those knights don't have plumes in their helmet.
Right.
I think there's another add of punch of color. And then I wanted to add to my skeleton legions, but again, bending but not breaking the rules. So instead of having
are the rules written or unwritten?
They're not written down, but there's a language. We don't want to interject too many things into that language so it feels a sentence would feel distorted.
So that's what you mean by the rules. It's like
there's certain sort of aesthetics, vibes, and themes that run through it.
Right.
I try really hard to pay attention to those and to make them fit as if they were officially released
part of the line,
but they're different enough that they wouldn't ever actually be done.
Right.
So on this one, instead of having the metal mouth guard at the bottom to protect the lower jaw, we see the skeleton jaw underneath poking out. It gives it a little bit of a meaner character.
Yeah, very cool, very stealthy, mysterious sort of look. And I like the fact that you have like one bare skeleton foot and then one that isn't.
Right, I figure most of these have been resurrected from armies of the dead, so they probably didn't make it through the first round, so here they are in skeletal form, ready for battle.
Look at that. And they're always so like seamless, like you always think like, that you hope they could come out on the line at some point, or something inspired, or something like it.
Right.
Show us the Barbarian, and I think these might be my two favorites. I love the Dwarves, but these guys, it's like.
Growing up, I had those lead knight figures, and those really interested me. And so this is based off of one of the sort of Islamic, Moorish, if you will, like medieval warrior. Right. And so I wanted to create that sort of look with Mythic Legions. And I gave him a new head. Did you see that the base is based from Jitsu from the Masters Classics? Yeah. He's got new shoulder armor, which is removable. So I could take that on and off, and those are castings that I've made. So I've got a couple other different ones for other figures in the works. And he's regal, and he's magnificent. He's got a real expressive face, very kick-ass. And you used the Zethius belt there. I wanted to add a little bit more weight to his center of his look. So that he wasn't quite as elvish or as feminine, but not as bulked out as a barbarian. So I tried to strike a middle ground there. And then you got like the minaret at the top of the helmet, sort of, kind of like, I forget, Grisha, I think, Grisha. Yeah, these two look really good on the shelf together. I bet. I mean, the kind of thing that you just look at it and it inspires you to like want to write like some fan fiction or something. I love that one. And then the Barbarian. Right, so following in the lines of like what what could actually be done. This is sort of a proof of concept.
Right.
Where what if we went for a furry torso?
Right.
Where in the skeleton I had furry leg armor. What if we had a furry torso?
And I told Eric Treadway, I said, hey, go take a look at what Mike did with that furry torso, and he's like, I'm gonna go. And
so again, to the language of the colors and things, one of the things that is prevalent is the primary and secondary color schemes, where you've got a primary color, you've got a secondary inlay color, or something like that. If it's just a plain furry torso, you lose that. It gets muddled if it's just one color.
Right.
So I wanted an armor piece in the front that could be painted different from the fur to give it that nice primary, secondary contrast.
That ornamental.
Right. So I chose a sort of a Etruscan armor.
Mm-hmm.
And part of the reason for that was I thought that shape of the three triangles worked well on the back.
Oh, yeah.
To conceal and to blend the different peg holes that go for wings or shoulder pieces.
Right.
So that it didn't feel like just a hole in the back. It felt part of the design.
Exactly.
Right.
And he looks amazing.
And then part of that is how far can you push that primary? And so I thought, well, a tiger print, that's pretty complicated. That's how far you can push that.
Right.
But it's pulled back by the secondary of the metal.
Attention, PowerCon attendees. Someone has lost a set of keys.
All right. Sorry we were rudely interrupted there by Danielle Galerto's dulcet tones, which I love to hear, but not in the middle of this video here with your customs.
So here's you could do this, variation of metal and fur with different things. Like if you wanted something that would match the ice troll or the ice elves. You could do a pale white fur with a blue gold metal, or an orc might have black fur or dark brown fur with black armor with silver, little dry brushing highlights. Again, that nice variation of play of primary, secondary that you can apply throughout.
The possibilities are endless.
Yeah. Legion. So I thought this was a really universal physical design that could be replicated potentially.
Yeah.
So that's my sort of proof of concept.
All right. So let's take a look at your goblin back there.
So this is my goblin general. And I wanted something really mean looking.
And I'm going to lean him up here so you could really take a good look at that face.
Right. So the face is an amalgamation of different parts. The base helmet is from the extra head with the Goblin Legion Builder. The nose is also from a Goblin Legion Builder. The lower jaw and mouth is from Trigon from the DC Universe Classics.
Right.
The horns are from various things. I think a Scalix from DC Classics, Red Lantern.
Right. So you're like a mad scientist. You're like chopping these figures to bits and then putting them back together.
The edges back together to make something. And then I wanted to give them a spear, and so I had the idea of stacking the skulls from different Mythic Legions.
His loincloth fell off.
Yeah, it's all right. So there's the regular skull, the jawless skull, and the female skull down there.
That's cool. Who cares about Skeletor's Havoc staff? Right there. That's 3 times cooler. All right, and then what else do you want to show us?
I had these guys last year at PowerCon.
I remember him.
Before the Goblins were released, I wanted something very brutish that would match the Goblins in that sort of heavyweight design. And I wanted to give them longer arms so it'd be a bit more of a
monkey,
more of an ape-ish silhouette.
Skeleton dude is so sick, bro. And this one with the freaking cross.
And then also I had this other skeleton knight. Mostly just to repaint. I added the horns on the scapular helmet. But again, another way you can have different color variations on a tabard that match. And I did a little bit of work on the lower part of the cloth on the tabard.
That's beautiful, beautiful work, man. Beautiful.
This guy's taking it up to the next level as far as paint.
You hear all the unsolicited endorsements in the background? I hope I got some of that.
Oh, it's beautiful work.
Yeah. All right.
Lastly, also we have an homage to the Dungeons & Dragons Elkhorn.
All right. Very cool. All right, we've been going for a little over 14 minutes, so that's the Mythic Legions customs, right?
Yes.
Maybe I can get some more footage later on of some of the other stuff. But thank you for bringing this. And I have to say, your customs are always the highlight of the con, or one of the highlights of the con for me. And
You could have stopped at the
awesome to
highlight,
see.
and I would have been fine.
I don't want your head to get too big.